You're listening to Just Hit Play with your hosts, Peter and Nick Cabral. If you're tired of your stagnant, streamed music feed, then strap yourselves in for an intergenerational sonic journey through Peter and Nick's favorite songs.
Welcome to episode 123 of Just Hit Play. I'm your host, Peter, and with me is my co-host, Nick. Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's a very busy season for me, school-wise, but we're getting there. The end is in sight. I have a month left till the semester's over, so just keeping my nose to the grindstone. And
Right.
it's really nice to have this podcast recording as a bit of a break from the grind.
Yeah, I get that. Now, I think also I'd like to congratulate myself on the saint-like behavior of not messaging you after the Liverpool game. I think that was very well done by me.
Yeah, it must have been hard to suppress how excited you were after winning probably your club's biggest game in 10 years. So I'm happy for you guys that this was such a big win, big moment.
We won the the League Cup last year, so that was probably our biggest win for a while. You know what's funny?
All right.
You know what's funny? I didn't, because the game was on here at like 2:00, 3:00 in the morning, and I'm like, I had to work the next day, and I'm like, I don't want to watch it. It's too early. And then I sort of woke up and looked at the score. It was like 2-1. I'm like, oh, okay. So I missed the first half. And then I watched the second half, and obviously I got up and I watched the rest of the game, which was, good because it ended up really well. But I did not see the first half of the game, which I think, and I've seen the first half. I've watched it recently. And the first half was a really fun game. Like it was both teams went for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say, obviously, despite it not going our way, it was a great game, and I'm happy that there's two Man U players that I can respect and like now, those two being Kobe Mainu and Rasmus Højlund. I really like both those guys. I just wish they were playing on a different team.
Yeah, Mainu was he was supposed to start the year as the midfielder, but got hurt in preseason. It's been a big couple of months for him. He's on the England squad. It's been crazy for him.
Yeah, very talented player.
Yeah, in Liverpool's defense, this was the only thing we have going for us. So, there was a reason why Antony and Fernandes were playing defense. Like they threw everything at it because they could. There's nothing else to play for, right? So, they could go balls to the wall and risk everything because they had nothing to risk really. This was our cup final. So, that makes that to put it in some kind of perspective, it's kind of interesting when you look at it in that way, where a team had nothing to lose against a team that, all intents and purposes, obviously we're trying to win the game because they wanted a historical quadruple. But yeah, it was the two very interesting dynamics going on in this game.
Yeah, I just kept telling my friends, look, it's one less game we have to play midweek at the end of the season. So
that's correct.
It's whatever.
Yeah. No, it was an entertaining game. All right, so we haven't talked in a week because it's Darren, who is our sound engineer. It's his birthday this week, so we didn't record last week because Darren is actually away. I think he's probably gone for about 6 or 7 days. He's spending time on Stradbroke Island with his family. So happy birthday, Darren. Hope you enjoyed your week on Stratty. It rained a lot. It's rained a lot in the last week here. I think we had like 3 or 4 days of straight rain, but it's cleared up now, so we're in a bit of sunshine again.
Yeah, that's far too much rain. My God. Yeah. No flooding though, right?
No flooding yet. Hopefully there is no flooding. But happy birthday, Darren. Hope you enjoyed your time off. And yes. I owe you a beer.
Yeah, happy birthday, Darren. If I could, I would buy you a beer
too. Yeah, Stratty's awesome. I wish I could go Stratty. It's a beautiful place. All right. You're up
Stratty
first, man. Yeah, Stratty's awesome. You're up first. Why don't you hit us with your song?
Right. So this week, I wanted to hit you with something, I guess, on the newer side. New is a relative term when talking about music, but this is a bit of a newer release from a band that we both have enjoyed for a while, and that is Coldplay. This song is called Arabesque. It was the lead single from their 2019 album Everyday Life, and personally, I think it's fantastic, despite Coldplay shifting to certainly a more pop sound later in their career. I think this is a great song. and it harkens back to the older days. So, Darren, why don't you just hit play on Arabesque by Coldplay? So, strong intro, I'll tell you that much, but I think this song, like I said, I think it's fantastic and keeps up that same energy and stays compelling for its full almost 6 minute long runtime. So tell me, did you like it, or are you just still going to stick to their old stuff?
No, it's a great song. I've lost sight of Coldplay in the last few years for, I think, the reasons that you stated. They got lost in the weeds a little bit for me. There is something really magical when a big band like Coldplay, U2, Radiohead, can deliver one of these songs that are meant to be played in big spaces. Because obviously, Coldplay are a stadium band. There is something magical, and this is a perfect example of a song that can fill a stadium, and it just plays. You can hear this song, in front of 50,000 people. So it is unbelievable. It's a great song.
I completely agree, and I'm glad you feel the same way because, there's no way around it. Coldplay, they changed their sound. I think they certainly went in a bit more of a mainstream pop angle, and fair play to them. They're one of the biggest bands in the world. They pack out 80,000 capacity stadiums like it's nothing. To do it for fun. So fair play to them. I'm not harping on them for selling out or anything like that, but I think that this is proof that they still have it somewhere deep inside. Like, they have the ability to make a good, creative, experimental almost song that takes risks, and I think that's why I like it so much. Is it feels like the band taking a bit of a risk again.
And they can, as you said, they've sold a truckload of records. They can play stadiums. There's nothing to stop them from taking risks and making songs like this. It's a huge song. It's so big, and it's in the atmosphere of the song. It's kind of like Fix You. I love Fix You. I think I saw Coldplay in a stadium, 10, 11 years ago. And it almost annoyed me how good the show was and how good Coldplay were, because they were absolutely amazing on stage. And I was a little bit annoyed by it because I love Coldplay, but I didn't like them that much. It kind of pissed me off in a bit. But again, their songs are meant to fill those spaces, and this is a perfect example of them sort of going back to their roots a little bit. I kind of lost Coldplay a little bit when they started duetting with Rihanna. I was like, I'm not into this. But this is a great example of them sort of coming back.
Yeah, I mean, they have a minute-long sax solo on this song, saxophone solo, right? It's just nice to see. And there's two bits of really interesting trivia about this song. The first one is that this is the first song in their entire discography to contain profanity.
Okay.
In the bridge, I guess, he says fuck, so first song to ever get the explicit tag for them.
Right, okay.
And the second bit of trivia is that this song is actually 15 years old. Right. It came out of the sessions for the album after Viva La Vida.
Okay.
Yes, so basically, after Viva La Vida came out, the band, they were in the studio trying to work on their next album, and Brian Eno was producing it, a shared producer who we love very much. We love Brian Eno. They were in the studio working on their next album, and Brian Eno basically kicked Chris Martin out for 2 weeks. He told him go kick rocks because he wanted to let the other band members experiment and jam and stuff without Chris Martin's influence. And this is the song they came up with.
Right, that's so Eno. There's a U2 song, and I'm blanking on the name of the song at the moment. But it's on Unforgettable Fire, where he had the band just play a bit of music and he slowed it down and just told Bono just to riff over it. And Bono riffed over it. And then he goes, "Oh, yeah, this is really cool. I can't wait for it. Can't wait to work on the song a little bit more." And Eno goes, "No, it's done. That's it." And so like the song was literally one take over a slowed down piece of music, and it made the album. So that is very Eno. He just does experimental things like that.
Yeah, I feel like when you're a veteran of the industry, like Brian Eno is, he's been at it for God, how many years now?
Yeah.
You not only have the confidence to tell the front person of a band, get out of here, like just leave for 2 weeks, let us figure things out. But you have the pull to be able to say that and not get fired. So
right, his track record is unbelievable. From David Bowie to U2 to the Talking Heads, Roxy Music, he can pull this.
Exactly. And Chris Martin came back from his I guess 2-week hiatus and really liked the song, but it didn't end up making the cut for the next album, nor the one after that, nor the one after that, or the one after that, but it made it to this album, Everyday Life.
Right. The title, Arabesque, it kind of made me laugh a little bit because in the Islam culture, musical instruments are kind of taboo in certain circles in Islam. So something like the saxophone or a guitar really is forbidden. So it's funny how it's called Arabesque, but it's not.
Yeah, it's definitely some of the more extreme sects frown upon music, but this was actually, so there was a lot of collaboration on this song. I'm glad you brought that up. So this song, like I said, a lot of collaboration. It features some oud contributions by the Palestinian group Le Trio Joubran. I don't know exactly what an oud is, but it looks like some sort of guitar string instrument, some Middle Eastern string instrument. The horn section is by a Nigerian musician called Femi Kuti. And there's French vocals by the Belgian singer Stromae, who I actually have a couple songs by Stromae. I like him a lot. So a lot of nice collaboration on this song as well, which I think is evident in the music. It sounds like a ton of people worked on it. Yeah.
No, it's huge. Like I said, I really want to hear this song live in the stadium and just let it wash over me. I think it's one of those classic stadium rock songs.
Agreed. And that just goes to show the level of band Coldplay are, where even when they experiment a bit, they still have it in them to just put out a stadium banger. So like they can do both almost at the same time now, which makes it a bit sadder for me when, like what they did on their new album, it's all just like synth pop and collaborations with BTS and Max Martin produced pop songs, especially when we know they can still make music like this. But that's the nature of the industry.
It's really unfortunate. We want to be popular. We want to make money. We want to stay relevant. And obviously the music industry has changed a lot in the last 10, 15 years. But I'm always under the belief that if you write a good song, it's your passport to be relevant. It's your passport to travel. It's your passport to be heard. And this is one of those songs I think is a classic example of writing a good song that allows you space and allows you to move in circles and be relevant again. Write a good song. That's all you need to be relevant.
It's a really interesting dichotomy though, because a song like Arabesque, the lead single for Everyday Life, music publications, blogs, critics really liked this song and actually really liked the album too. It was pretty well acclaimed. It made end of year lists, but it didn't sell very well. And then on their last album, which I'm blanking on the name of, but honestly doesn't matter. So Arabesque, produced by Brian Eno, great song, critically acclaimed. Their last album, produced by Max Martin, the pop hit maker of the century, responsible for like 1 billion top 1 hits. He produced the entire album, and the lead single went number 1 across the world.
Sure.
The point I'm trying to make is they can be creative and make stuff that is really acclaimed and we like, but it doesn't sell well, and it's really easy for them to make hits if they want.
Right. And that number one song you're talking about, I would have no idea. I've never heard it. So there you go. That's how far removed I am from the Coldplay world now. I've not heard that song. If you were to play it for me, I wouldn't even know what it was.
It's not very good. You're not missing anything.
No,
not at all.
That tends to happen sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, we just have to be grateful that we have this good song from them and that we have all their old stuff, all their old material, which is fantastic.
Sure. Yeah. I'm a huge Coldplay fan. Dig the band. I'm happy to see that they can still put out some killer songs.
Yeah. I'm also a huge Coldplay fan. Viva La Vida. The song was, I think it's one of the first songs I ever bought on iTunes on my iPod Touch at the time. So yeah.
No, it's my favorite Coldplay album as well. Love that album so much. And it's so different because it's Brian Eno again. It's so different than their other stuff.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really glad you like this song, and I'm ready to get into some Monkees whenever you are.
All right. So I've been getting you to listen to some Monkee songs. We've listened to Daydream Believer, Last Train to Clarksville, and now we're going to listen to I'm a Believer, which was written by Neil Diamond, of all people. So this came out, I believe, in 66, 67, I believe the song came out. Went number one all over the world. You first heard it probably on the Shrek soundtrack by Smash Mouth, of all people. So Darren, just hit play on the Monkees' I'm a Believer.
I thought love was only true in fairy tales, and for someone else, but not for me. Our love was out to get me. That's the way it seemed. Disappointment haunted all my dreams. Then I saw her face.
Okay, so what did you think? Obviously, as we mentioned, you heard it before on the Shrek soundtrack. What did you think of the Monkees version?
I like the Monkees version a lot, and dare I say more than the Smash Mouth version. Yeah. I'll just throw that out there right away.
Sure, yeah.
And yes, I've heard I'm a Believer many times because it's at the end of the Shrek film in the big dance scene after they vanquish Lord Farquaad. But never heard the Monkees version, and I like it quite a lot.
Sure. Yeah, it was included in the Shrek version because in the beginning of the song, he goes, some people say love's only in fairy tales, so that's why it's included in the Shrek movie, because it does have that reference to fairy tales, and obviously Shrek is heavily based on fairy tales. So that's one of the reasons why that song was featured in those movies. As I mentioned, the song was written by Neil Diamond, a very famous American musician, huge hits in the 60s and 70s. I think he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He released a version of this song himself in 1979 on an album called September Morn. Hint, we're going to listen to a little bit of that later. So the Monkees version went number one all over the world. It's in the Rolling Stones top 500 of songs of all time. It made it to number 341. So again, it's a classic song, been played forever. I've heard the song forever. And it's one of those songs that I think sort of is what this podcast is about, of you listening to these songs that are just classic songs that generations of people grown up with, that it's important to continue the legacy of people hearing it.
Yeah, and like I said, I've only heard the Smash Mouth version, which is a shame because spoiler alert for who played it better, having heard 3 versions of this song, that's the one I like the least. So it's a bit of a shame that's the only one I know. Thank Shrek for that. But I have a question. That the Monkees version of this song, it came out before the Neil Diamond?
Yes. So Neil Diamond, I think, recorded his version much later on.
So Neil Diamond wrote it for the Monkees, or he just wrote it and the Monkees did a version of it?
Yeah, I think that's more like what it was. I think the Monkees, because early on they did not record their own stuff or write their own stuff, they were just trying to get as much material as they could. They were on a weekly TV show, so they needed a lot of material. They needed a lot of songs to be played to fill albums, things like that. So yeah, I think it would have been written and then Monkees would have taken it.
Gotcha. Okay, and then Neil Young years later was like, or sorry, Neil Diamond
Yeah, Neil Diamond.
was like, screw you guys, I want my own version out here.
Yeah, well, I think Neil Diamond made a lot of money off the song as the writer, so he probably
True.
has made a lot of money over the years. Yeah, so that's not a. I think he's fine.
You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Neil Diamond is fine.
yeah. Um, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of weird monkey facts. So I'm going to tell you. I was going to play you a fourth monkey song, but I think you sort of get the gist of the Monkees. So I'm going to leave the Monkees for a little bit, and we're going to go towards something different next week. But the weird monkey fact is about Mike Nesmith, who's the guitar player, and it's about his mother, Bette Nesmith. So Bette Nesmith worked a lot of clerical jobs, and she did a lot of typewriting. And she came up with this ingenious idea that one time she made a mistake and took paint and covered up the mistake and invented liquid paper.
Oh, like whiteout?
Yeah. So,
Damn.
and then all the other secretaries in her office wanted it, like, this is brilliant. Cause back then, if you made a mistake on the typewriter, you had to yank out the sheet and start again. So you could be typing for half an hour and make a mistake and have to start again. So this was an ingenious idea that made her a lot of money. So she sold the company in 1979 for $47.5 million, which in today's dollars would have been $200 million. So probably not as much money she probably could have got for it. And then died like 5 months later after selling the company.
Oh my God.
She sold it to Gillette in 1979. So Michael Nesmith, before he died, he had that liquid paper money, so he was all right. He had the monkey money and the liquid paper money coming in.
That's an insane amount of money. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
My God. Yeah, lucrative business, liquid paper at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, she was just a secretary who was sick of, starting again every time she made a mistake on the typewriter, and came up with liquid paper.
Fair enough. I think a lot of the best inventions in human history come out of just frustration at
necessity,
some daily inconvenience. Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah. To finish off with the Monkees, this was around the time that they decided that they had a struggle with the producers of the TV show, that they wanted more influence and they wanted to write and produce and play instruments on all future songs. And Michael Nesmith was probably the leader in that. Even though at one point they were given a royalty check for $250,000, and Nesmith again freaked out, and eventually the band did win, and they started to then record their own stuff. But with that, the popularity of the Monkees started to wane a little bit because music changed. It was more psychedelic music was coming out, and this more poppy stuff. Like, think about how much the Beatles changed over the years. And the Monkees just couldn't keep up with the musical change, and they were forgotten for about 20 years.
And until you came along and said, you know what, I'm going to bring the Monkees back.
That's right.
I'm going to bring them to the new generation, and you're bearing their banner. And the Monkees need people like you.
Well, like I said, I got into the Monkees when I was coming home from school because they started being played on, TV. On reruns and things, and they went into syndication. So that's when I started to watch the Monkees and Batman, the TV show Batman, which was very important in me growing up. And now there'll be hopefully another generation of people listening to the Monkees, and because they have some really great pop hits. So let's get their music out there. I think they're a little bit forgotten nowadays.
Yeah, they certainly knew how to play a hit. I'm hesitant to use the word right, but they knew how to play a hit. The team behind the Monkees knew how to make a good hit, and that's timeless, right? Like the songs you're showing me, they're old, but the groove within them, the melody within them, that's timeless, and I think it still holds up today.
Yeah, such great like pop hits. And I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, my friend Maggie, who commented on Facebook about me playing about you actually playing the Coldplay Arabesque song, and how much she loved that song, and it goes to show you people love music. People spend billions and billions of dollars every year to listen to music and consume music. I think it's so important that we, bring music that people may have never heard of, which is the point of this podcast, and bring music out there so people can hear this kind of stuff. It's great to, again, be pigeonholed and be in your silo a little bit, but let's stretch a little bit and let's listen to some different kind of music.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's the whole point of this
That's
show. And I honestly, like, I'm just glad that any song I recommend to you, like, someone else can listen to and like.
Right, exactly.
And even if someone doesn't like a song that we feature on this podcast, I think it's still worthwhile to try something and listen to something new that you wouldn't have otherwise heard, just to know it's out there and just to give you a frame of reference for what you like and what you don't like.
Well, even, there's that one song about that guy. I'm losing, I can't remember his name, but it was a song about his eye that I hated when we played it. But then I subsequently loved the song. Tyler, the Creator, I think it was.
See You Again.
See You Again, which I didn't like it the week we listened to it. I think I bagged the song. But then
you did.
the melody kept coming into my head. And so a week later, I was like, actually, that's a pretty good song. So it's really like, maybe I was having a bad week or it just wasn't feeling it. But yeah, I dig that song. So who knows when we're actually going to feel a song or where it's going to connect with you. So that's, it's important to hear these songs because you never know when it's going to connect.
Absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. More.
Cool. So we did hint at it. So let's play a triple version of Who Played It Better. So we've listened to the Monkees version of I'm a Believer. So let's listen to a few seconds of Neil Diamond, I'm a Believer, released in 1979.
Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer.
All right. And as Nick mentioned, the version that's on the movie Shrek, Smash Mouth with I'm a Believer.
And then I saw her face. I'm a believer.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that you're not a fan of that version or as much as the other two. So I'm agreeing with you. I think Smash Mouth is a great example of a mediocre band that had a bit of a hit with All Stars, and they rode that coattail as far as their talent could take them to making a bunch of money off Shrek. So let's discount the Smash Mouth version because it's shit. So out of Neil Diamond and the Monkees, who are you picking?
I'm going to go with Neil Diamond.
Yeah, it's a really good version, isn't it?
It's fantastic. I really do like it the most.
It's understated. It's really nice. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to go with the Monkees, but I got to say it was pretty close. I really dug the Neil Diamond version too.
Honestly, it was so close that I didn't know which name I was going to say until I said it.
Right, yeah.
Which, that's about the closest it can get. But yeah, I think something about the Neil Diamond just resonates with me a bit more. It's a bit more of a like thoughtful...
Yeah, it's not as poppy.
Yeah. And I think that's what puts it over the edge for me. But both great songs.
Yeah, I think too the Neil Diamond version has all those little elements that make the Monkees version really, really great, just understated. Great version. Love the Neil Diamond version. I still think the Monkees just pips it for me at the end.
Yeah, totally fair.
Yeah. How about you, Darren? Welcome back. What did you think? Smash Mouth, Neil Diamond, or the Monkees?
I prefer the Monkees version.
Yeah, you're right. Monkees, yeah, that version's great. What song do you have for me for next week?
All right, for next week, I originally had a song that I was sure I was going to give you this week, which we'll have to save.
Yeah.
But then Future and Metro Boomin, Future being a rapper, Metro Boomin producer, they just dropped a new album, and there's a song on there featuring none other than Kendrick Lamar, who I think it's safe to say is your favorite rapper. He's one of my favorite rappers.
Love Kendrick, yeah.
And in his verse, Kendrick Lamar takes some pretty big shots at Drake and J. Cole, but like I'm not a big J. Cole guy, so I don't really care. But yeah. It's currently basically the only thing anyone can talk about in the hip hop sphere of the internet. Will Drake respond? Will he not? So let's get you in on the discussion, and you're gonna listen to Like That by Future, Metro Boomin, and Kendrick Lamar.
Okay, well, let's see if I like that. Awesome. as I mentioned, I was going to get you to listen to a Monkee song, but I think you get the gist of the Monkees, what they're about. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to explain the segment I'm going to go with next. The 80s was weird. The 80s had some really weird songs that were huge hits. So I think I'm going to call this segment, Can You Believe That Was a Hit? So that's the segment. That's the segment we're going to do for a month. Because looking back, I really am asking myself, wow, that was a hit. And the first one we're going to listen to is by an artist called Taco, and you're going to be putting on the Ritz.
Okay. I'm excited to hear what Taco has in store for me.
Yeah, the song "Putting on the Ritz." It's again, the phrase is going to be, "Can you believe this was a hit?"
All right,
because it was a worldwide hit. Yeah. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that for a month.
Cool. That's a fun concept. I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Cool. And what are your? Oh, I should say also Happy Easter, everyone. We're recording this.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, we're recording this on Good Friday in Australia, and waiting Thursday. I don't know what's Thursday called.
Easter
Thursday.
Eve? I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Good
Thursday,
Eve?
I think. Yeah, it's good Thursday. And yeah, so Happy Easter. Hope you get lots of bunnies, the chocolate variety, and any other variety you want. Hope it's a nice Easter for everyone.
Yeah, and that about sums up my plans for the weekend. I'm going to go hang out with the family on Friday, and then unfortunately I work Saturday.
Right.
And then I'm spending Easter Sunday in style by going to see the new Godzilla vs. King Kong in 4DX.
Oh, so. I only watch Godzilla movies and King Kong movies in 4DX because you need that other element to make those movies good.
Yes, you do.
Because if you go see it in 2D, they're not very good. You need to be thrashed and water being hit at you and your hair being blown in the wind and things like that. Because they're not very good movies. Yeah,
I'm very excited. I've only done 4DX once. It was for Godzilla -1. It was very fun, and I can't wait for Godzilla vs. Kong. I think it's going to be awesome. So I'll report back.
Oh, cool. We're going to go see a horror movie tonight here in Brisbane on Good Friday. It's an Australian. Excuse me. It's an Australian horror movie. I can't remember what the title is. Angie did tell me. But yeah, we got tickets to that, so we're going to go see that tonight. So I'll let you know about the horror movie we see on Good Friday.
Nice. Enjoy that. And we'll do a movie review next week.
Sounds good to me. Let's talk about our independent artist. So this is someone we've featured many times before. Her name is Lily Grace, and she has a brand new song out called The Summer That Got Away. Congratulations on your new single. Thank you very much for letting us play it. I hope it does really well for you. It's a great country song. I'm not the biggest country music fan, but again, if it's a well-written song, if it's a good song, I don't care what genre it is, just write good music. So thank you very much, Lily. I hope it's a huge hit for you. And I guess we'll talk to everyone next week.
Stars are lighting it up just like LA. Never went to bed, we ain't up too late. Wet hair, t-shirts, cut-offs, that works. Time can really fly, but somehow it does. On a beach, trying to catch a little caffeine buzz. Bonfires, guitars, the night is ours. Tonight is ours. We don't gotta waste 1 minute, 'cause we'll regret it for the rest of our lives. Come on, let's get up into the middle 27 days, don't want them to end. Good times, good vibes, good friends. We don't gotta waste 1 minute, 'cause we'll regret it for the rest of our lives. Come on, let's get up into the middle of it, more than a little of it, do it upright. We only get 100 days, don't let it be the summer, the summer, the summer that got away. The summer that got away. The summer.
You've been listening to Just Hit Play. To contact your hosts, Peter and Nick, or to be featured on an episode as musical talent, email justhitplay7300@gmail.com. Keep up to date with news and announcements by following on Instagram and Facebook, linked in the show notes. Subscribe on your favourite podcatcher to tune in next week for more sonic delights. And if you can't wait till then, check out the Just Hit playlist on Spotify, linked in the show notes. A special thanks to Braden Munch for the theme song, and thank you for listening.